Hello and welcome to Square One Games. My name is Exonovant and this is my road to completion guide from Metro Exodus. In this series, I'm going to be showing you guys how to unlock every single trophy and achievement this game has to offer. And I really hope all of you enjoy the run. A couple of quick announcements before we get started. Number one, make sure that you guys are always checking down below in the description of the video, each video in the series. I'll have a full video timeline waiting for you guys down there. It'll detail everything we're doing in the run, each step of the way, from the collectibles to the combat sequences, to hunting down all the trophies. Everything will be listed down in the description below. Number two, make sure that you guys are always reading my pinned comment, okay? If I make a commentary mistake or I don't showcase something enough in the guide with the gameplay, I'll make sure to correct that or leave some notes in my pinned comment. It'll be the very first comment down below in each one of the, underneath each one of the videos. So just make sure that you guys are aware of that. Before we get into our new game here, let's scroll over one time to the right. Everything lights up here. Just scroll over one time to the right. You'll be in your options menu. We want to check on a few things before we get started. We want to scroll down to wireless controller. I want to show you guys that I've got my layout on the default layout, or the #1 preset. You guys can of course set that up however you prefer based on your experience with first-person games. Just know that I'm going to be using preset 1. So any kind of tutorials that I get in the game is going to reflect that preset, okay? When it comes to your sensitivity, I like to put my sensitivity right in the middle and my aim sensitivity in the middle. You guys will have to, adjust it as you play through the game. You can do that from the in-game menu. But the main thing here is your aim assist and your auto aim border. Make sure that those two are turned up all the way. I'll explain that once we get into some combat in the game. When it comes to brightness, you guys can of course play the game how it's recommending that you play in terms of your brightness. I'm going to be turning my brightness up because anytime I post a video on YouTube, it shows up darker than when it's in my editing software. And then I also want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing in some of the darker areas of the game. I find that some walkthroughs online, they'll post the video and it's super dark, and even though you're trying to follow it as a walkthrough, you can't even see what the player's doing. Outlast 2 is a prime example of that. I try to make my Outlast 2 coverage very bright. So just know that going into it, guys, that my game is going to appear a lot brighter than yours. And then of course, make sure that you guys select the easiest difficulty for this playthrough. Notice what I'm doing here. As soon as I'm in the tunnel, there'll be a cutscene. You'll be in the tunnel here. You'll be able to control your player for the first time, your character for the first time. Hit options, and you'll be able to go into your collectibles. You'll be able to see that you have 2 forms of collectibles for this game, diary and postcards. There are a total of 70 diaries you're going to need to pick up in this playthrough, and then 21 postcards. That's a grand total of 91 collectibles. So if you look in the video description right now, you'll see that I have things broken down as a total number of collectibles. I don't have the diaries and the postcards separate when it comes to keeping count of them in the timeline. So I don't have like 1 of 70 for the diaries, and then you pick up another diary, 2 of 70, pick up a third diary, 3 of 70. I don't have that. I'm combining the postcards and the diaries together for a grand total of 91. So this first collectible that we're going to pick up here in a second, the half-torn notebook, that's going to be 1 of 91. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I think it's easier that way than to break things down. Because some games have like 5 or 6 collectibles, right? And I find that it's just easier just to total up the entire, numbers all together and get a total and then run with that total. Notice that I just picked up the ammo there. I'm just sprinting through. This is all linear through here. You can use your lighter if you want to get through some of these cobwebs. Again, not something that we're going to be doing. I just wanted to showcase that it's possible. You hit L1 and square to be able to access your lighter. We're going to kill this enemy. Again, just a quick time event. Now this is something that you're going to want to do. You're going to want to kill this next enemy. It's going to always jump in from the left. Kill that enemy with this gun. This gun is called the Shambler. There are 10 guns we need to get kills with in this game to pop a trophy. This is going to be 1 of 10. That's your first kill. Okay. And then come over here and get your first collectible. This is the half-torn notebook. This will be collectible 1 of 91. All right, and then what we're gonna do is run this way. We don't have to kill any more enemies unless you guys just want to, but it's not necessary. Just run through the train, take a left, head toward the door, and then make sure that you hit square. That's going to trigger a cutscene, which I'm gonna be taking out the cutscenes for this guide. I posted a poll on YouTube yesterday and on Facebook asking you guys if you wanted me to keep the cutscenes in or out. You guys voted on out. We'll talk about that in an upcoming episode of the Daily Dose. I'm curious to see if there's a compromise there where we can leave them in, but I'll ask you guys that in a different video. Make sure you pick up that collectible. That is the patient file. That's collectible 2 of 91, and then wrap around this corner and pick up collectible 3 of 91. This is going to be postcard number 1. Again, there's 21 postcards in this game. And then look to the left. There's going to be a green door. We're going to just go through the door again. We're going to trigger a cutscene there. I'm going to be skipping that. Open that up. Boom. There'll be another little cutscene here where you're talking to Anna. And then she's going to give you a little tutorial here about your filters. You can swap your filters by tapping down on the D-pad. If you've never played a Metro game, which to be honest, this was my first Metro game. I've never played any of the other ones. You have a gas mask that you have to put on regularly throughout the playthrough when you get inside of areas that have a lot of radiation. And there's filters that you have to keep switching out in order to breathe. So anytime the game prompts you, there'll always be a prompt in the top right of the screen to either put the gas mask on or swap a filter. Just make sure that you guys are doing that. Come over here and pick up your next collectible, which is postcard number 2. And this will be collectible 4 of 91. And that wraps up all of the postcards for this first chapter, the Moscow chapter. You see there, it says Moscow, and then both of those have shown up. So you're good to go with those. We just need to get the rest of the diaries. Here's another diary. This will be collectible 5 of 91. This is the Dusty diary. We'll head through here, take a left. Just gonna follow her. And we're actually shooting for another collectible here in a second. But before we get to that collectible, there's some enemies that we're gonna have to fight. Very simple to do. Again, you guys are playing on the easiest difficulty. It's very hard for enemies to kill you on this difficulty, guys. Even if they crowd up around you, even if there's 4 or 5 of them in a room, very hard to die. It is possible, but very hard. I think I show you here in this clip me killing the enemies, but when we get to our Ranger hardcore playthrough, I'm going to show you guys a sweet spot to get where the enemies cannot hurt you, and she pretty much clears them out for you. Pretty neat. I try to show you guys that stuff when we get to the hardest difficulties in these games, these little cheese spots where you're really invincible or you have a high chance of not dying. So I'm ready to show you guys that when we get to the second playthrough for this game. We will have to make 2 playthroughs because we need to get multiple endings for some trophies. So again, we're playing on easy difficulty now, and we'll be playing on Ranger Hardcore on our second playthrough. Notice that I moved up into this room a bit. There's a collectible up there, and as soon as you get close to it, these enemies pop out. Let's kill all of them, and this will be your next collectible. Right here, this will be the shopping list. Diary entry. Gonna be collectible 6 of 91. There. And then we'll keep moving through this area. There's going to be some escalators over here. We're going to go down the escalators, and there's going to be a bus to the right. This one's very easy to miss because of the way the bus is angled. You want to go to the left when you walk in because you see that that's going to be the exit. But if you go to the right, you can pick up another collectible. This is Shura's note. That's going to be collectible 7 of 91. All right, we don't have to wait for her. You guys can if you want to. If you want to hear the dialogue that she's spouting off at you. But you can just kind of skip that. Now, I'm showing you here that you can holster your weapon. Notice that I'm putting it away and then pulling it out again. If you hold down right on the D-pad, you can do that. You run a lot quicker in the game when you holster your weapon. It really doesn't come in that handy in these type of chapters where it's fairly linear. But once we get to the open world aspects of this game, you're definitely going to want to know how to sprint quicker. See how it's telling me to swap my filter right there? I just press down on the D-pad, swap the filter. If you tap down on the D-pad, you'll swap the filter. If you hold down on the D-pad, you will pull your gas mask off or either put it on. Okay, just know that. holding down the D-pad does something different than tapping it. Now what I'm doing here is just waiting for her. This is a scripted sequence where she's going to be talking a little bit. You're just waiting for her to maneuver herself over to that place we just were at, because we need to climb up there and we have to boost her up, and then she's got to pull us up. You guys know, typical first person stuff. Well, really any game where you have a teammate, there's always a section where you have to help somebody get up some kind of cliff or something. I know I have a lot of Uncharted fans on this channel, so we're very familiar with that type of sequence.
Help me get out there.
And then there's a little dialogue sequence coming up, and then a cutscene, pretty big cutscene. And of course we're going to skip that. But again, going back to the cutscenes for these games, part of me wants to keep them in. I've always struggled with this decision when it comes to these guides, because I know some of you watch this strictly for the strategies. You just want to get the trophies. And then some of you guys, you're never going to play these games. Some of you guys, I'm finding out now on my channel, are not even trophy hunters. You just like to hear me talk about games, and even games that you're not playing. You just want to hear my analysis of them, and you want to see me pop trophies. And so seeing the story is beneficial for you. So maybe going forward, we can come to a compromise where I can leave the cutscenes in, and maybe just give you guys a timestamp on screen, or verbally call it out in the commentary. Like if a cutscene's coming up, I could say, hey, about to hit a cutscene. But for those of you who don't want to watch the cutscene forward through to the 15-minute mark, maybe that's a compromise that we can have. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Give me some feedback, because I used to not put the cutscenes in because it took so freaking long to render these videos out. I think this video right here would have been like an hour and 20 minutes long or something if I left all the cutscenes in. And I think right now it's timed at about 30 minutes. But I figured out a new way to render, and it doesn't take as long to render these files. So it's possible now for me to leave them in, but I just want to make sure that I've got you guys covered. And roughly about 50% of you want the cutscenes, and 50% of you don't. So I'm trying to find a compromise so that we can all be happy with these guides. So give me some feedback below. If that's a compromise that you think we can make, then I can do that for the next game that I cover. Let's go ahead and pick up this med kit. This is a scripted event. You can see on the right there that we just picked up 2 med kits. Anytime you pick up anything in the game, guys, that's where it's going to show up. And then if you hit up on the D-pad, you will pop the med kit, and notice the blood at the top of the screen goes away. And now you're full health. Go ahead and pick up this collectible. This is going to be the crumpled letter. This will be collectible 8 of 91. And I'm going to showcase for you guys here how to wipe your mask, or how to wipe your visor. Notice that there's a crack in the left-hand side of the screen, but it's not open. It's not fully open, right? It's just a crack. If you hit L1 and you see that type of crack over there, right, not fully open, you will just wipe your visor, okay? That's not really something we're going to be doing throughout the game, but I want you guys to know that there's a distinction between 2 types of animations. So the first one, again, is the wipe animation. That's if you just have a crack. If the crack is open, okay, if the visor actually has a hole in it and you hit L1, you will patch the crack with a piece of tape. Very important that you understand the difference there. So you're still hitting L1, but you're getting a different animation. If your visor is cracked, really the only problem there is that, you know, your visibility might be restricted a little bit, right? Or if you have rain or water drops on your visor, you won't be able to see as well. Not really that big of a deal. But if it's got a hole in it, you're going to be going through your filters a lot faster, right? You're going to be coughing a lot. You're going to be taking damage. You're going to need to pop med kits and stuff like that. So anytime you see your visor completely open, that crack is completely open, make sure that you guys hit L1 and put a piece of tape on it, just so that you can save yourself some health and, again, some filters, right? Again, this is on easy difficulty, so it really doesn't matter. But once we get into Ranger Hardcore, it will matter a lot. So I want you guys to get used to that. Again, the game will always prompt you in the top right of the screen with the tutorial that'll tell you when to put your gas mask on, and then when to swap your filters, okay? It might not tell you when to patch your gas mask, though I don't think it does past this point. We'll see, I can't remember, but I want you guys to know that. And of course, I'll show you in the game and verbally call it out, but I'm not gonna really know when your gas mask, you know, is fully open in your game because you might take damage where I don't take damage. So just know that going forward. After that cutscene, you can go ahead and pick up this med kit. Again, you see on the right hand side of the screen, and we just picked up 2 med kits. Anything you pick up in the game shows up on the right hand side. We'll get through this dialogue sequence. He's basically telling us that we need to sneak through this facility. And to do that, we need to turn the lights off. There's a panel to the right. It's a breaker box. We're going to go over here and turn the lights off. Now remember, I've turned my brightness up in my game. So it's going to appear like it's not that dark. But if you're playing the game on the recommended gamma level, the recommended brightness level, it's going to be super dark right here. You're going to have to make that determination in your game whether you want to actually see the environment or you want it to be more like the game wants it to be, very dark. But for YouTube purposes, I like for you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. Like I said, Outlast is a prime example of that. I remember covering that game, and I've seen other people's walkthroughs and you can't see nothing. A lot of times you're just looking at a black screen, right? And if they're not doing commentary, you really don't have any idea what they're doing. I tried to turn my brightness up, even though it didn't really look the greatest in terms of image quality, in terms of the video, but I think it really helps you guys get through the game. So I'm doing the same thing for this game, and I'm trying to find the healthy balance between what looks good and then what you can see. So I've been taking a lot of notes trying to strike that balance. When you get to this dude, just go ahead and press square to take him down. Eventually we're going to get into other methods of taking enemies down, but for now it's just teaching you that you can kind of knock people out stealthy. This is teaching that you can turn lights on and off by hitting square. We're not really going to be utilizing that much in this playthrough either, not on the easy difficulty. We will be doing that when we get to the second playthrough, but for now, not necessary. And right here we have to distract the guard. If you look down and to the right, you will get the prompt to pick up a can. You do have to look down and to the right, by the way, to be able to pick that up. And then all you have to do at this point is walk forward a little bit and hit R1, and you will toss the can. Just make sure that the can physically hits something. If it doesn't hit something in the environment, it won't make a noise, and you won't get, the guard will not be distracted, right? Just make sure that you connect with something, and then Yermak will come up here and open up the door for you. You can go ahead and push through. You'll crawl through this vent and then go through the door. There'll be another cutscene. Now, it's very important in this next sequence that you guys are fairly quick with picking up this next collectible. There's going to be a cutscene as soon as we open up this door, which I'm going to skip, obviously. And then there's going to be a dialogue that's happening between Anna and another character. While they're talking, you need to pick up this next collectible, okay? If Yermak comes in the door, which I'll show you here in a second, that's going to forward through to the next part of the storyline. So see how they're talking right now? Eventually you're going to get control of your character right there. Now go ahead and pick up this next collectible. This will be 9 of 91, and this is the official note. Okay, pick that up before Yermak comes through the door. Okay, I'm going to of course forward through that sequence here, but he comes through the door that's on the left hand side. You probably have about, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds there to pick it up. So it's not like an extreme rushed event, but you do want to make sure that you grab it. And she's going to tell you a little bit about the light indicator on your suit. Again, not necessary. We're playing on easy difficulty. We're not going to be doing a lot of sneaking around, so you guys don't even have to worry about that mechanic at this point. Notice that I wiped my visor twice right there to show you guys that I don't have a hole in my visor, and L1 is just wiping the visor. But look at there. See how when you take damage from the enemy and your visor is on, or your gas mask is on, you will eventually get a hole in your gas mask, your visor. And then you hit L1, you'll patch it with tape. We talked about that earlier, right? That's also going to give you guys your first trophy called Martian for patching the gas mask. Again, you're always hitting L1, but if it's just cracked, you're just going to be wiping the visor. If it has a hole in it, you're going to be patching it. Anytime you see a hole, you want to make sure that you're patching it. All right, now we're working on a trophy called Saboteur. To get this trophy, we have to melee kill or stun 50 enemies. This is going to take you guys about 10 minutes to do. We're going to be going through here killing anywhere between 7 to 10 enemies. It really depends because Anna is going to be killing some of the enemies for you, right? So in most cases, you're going to get at least 7 enemies. Sometimes you're going to get lucky and get all 10. But it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. Just go through, kill everybody, and then reload your checkpoint, and then rinse and repeat that until you get your 50 kills. Now I'm not going to show you me getting all 50 kills. I'll just do a little crossfade here in a second, or a transition, and I'm just showing you guys the route now, and then I'll show you guys my final route when I get the trophy. But this is going to take you guys about 10 minutes. Make sure though that when you're doing this, that you're hitting the triangle prompt. You're going to get 2 prompts, square or triangle. Make sure that you guys are hitting triangle. You want to kill these enemies, even though you have the option of either stunning them or killing them. Make sure that you kill them, because the 50 kills that you get here is going to stack toward another trophy called Headhunter, which is killing 300 human enemies. Okay, we want to make sure that we're killing these enemies, because we're going to be farming the Headhunter trophy in this episode as well, and we want these 50 kills to count toward that 300 total. Okay, we don't want to start from 0. Just make sure you're killing everybody, and then even as we're progressing through the level, if you get to a point where you can kill people or knock them out, we want to make sure that we're killing them, just again so we can just cut into that 300 total. And once you've got your Saboteur trophy, just go ahead and reload your checkpoint, and notice that you have 2 guns. Okay, you've got the Kalash and you've got the Revolver. Okay, see that? Now we've already got 1 kill with the Shambler. We did that earlier. We want to get 1 kill with the Kalash. Got that kill. Switch. All you do, guys, is just hit triangle on your controller. You can switch, and then get a kill with the Revolver. Okay, that's going to be 3 guns out of the 10 we need to pop a trophy for you guys. And then run down here to this door. You can skip all the enemies now. Open this thing up. Look to the right, pick up the med kit, and then you also want to pick up the gun. Make sure that you're on your Revolver, and then hit square. You want to switch your Revolver with the new Revolver. Okay, it doesn't make much sense now, but it'll make sense later. And then pick up this collectible. This is the Memo. This will be 10 of 91, and we're just going to sneak through this next area. Now, when I was talking about the modifications, when you switched out that Revolver a second ago, you also got 2 modifications. There are, if you go back and rewatch the footage, when you pick up a gun, that gun specifically, there were 2 orange modifications on that gun. The rest of the gun icon was white, but if you go back and look at the footage, there was 2 segments there, 2 parts of that gun that were orange. That's modifications. There is a trophy for equipping 5 modifications on a gun, so you definitely want to make sure that you switch your Revolver with that one so that you get credit for those 2 modifications. And we're going to be picking up some more guns later that'll give us some modifications. But if you pick up the guns correctly like I'm showing you, you will have enough modifications when we get to that point, and you guys can pop your trophy. And this right here is just typical stealth stuff, guys. No big deal. Sometimes this guy will be walking toward you, so you might have to wait a little bit longer, but just rush him. Again, we're making sure that we hit triangle on our controller to kill them, because we're working on our Headhunter trophy as well. There'll be a cutscene there once you free Yermak. Head up the stairs. Now I'm showing you here that you can either pick up this gun by hitting square, or you can hit O to just pick up the ammo. Okay, that is a mechanic in this game. You can pick up the modifications for a gun by hitting O, or just pick up the ammo. Okay, but notice what I'm doing here. I'm not shooting a soul. I'm just walking up to him, getting my melee kills. Again, we are working on the Headhunter trophy for killing 300 human enemies. You can shoot enemies to get credit for it. But if you guys remember back in the options menu, I told you to turn your auto aim and all that stuff to max. There's a reason for that, guys. I don't know if this is going to be patched by the time that I post this guide. But for whatever reason, when I played through the game, even though my aim assist was all the way at max, I could be standing 3 feet away from an enemy and aim down sight and would not even be on target at all. See what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's apparently it's a bug or a glitch, because normally when you're that close to an enemy and you turn on your, you've got your aim assist turned all the way up to max, all you do is aim down sight, hit the fire button, and you just tap them, right? Boom, boom, boom. You can kill them really quick. Sometimes that works in this game, but I find that most of the time it doesn't. I was actually having a conversation with Gaming Arcadia HD. He's a subscriber to this channel. Shout out to you, my friend. And you were saying the same thing. Yeah, what's up with the aim assist in this game? It's crazy. I don't know. Apparently that's a bug or something that needs to get fixed. So maybe it's patched by the time you guys see this guide, because I filmed this a few days ago and I know a patch came through. So hopefully it's fixed. But I just utilize the stealth mechanic or the melee mechanic in this game. Not to mention, if we focus on just killing enemies with our knife, we don't have to worry about looting bodies and all that kind of stuff. Because when you kill an enemy in this game, you can loot the body. We don't have to worry about none of that. We don't have to worry about crafting ammo, any of that stuff, guys. So it just makes it a lot easier for us. Now notice what I'm doing right here. I'm not killing these enemies. I did that with the sequence earlier too. I just waited behind the lockers. This is kind of scripted. She will kill these enemies for you if you don't do anything. You may need to push up a little bit behind her character on screen, because sometimes if you just wait behind that wall, it won't forward the area. You can do the same thing here. Notice that I'm just peeking out to show you that there are enemies out there. But watch, I'm not killing a soul. He does it all, and then you're good. And that works on Ranger Hardcore as well. Come over here and turn this wheel. There'll be a cutscene here as well, where you're going to board the train. There's going to be a long cutscene here where you're talking to your crew, but eventually you're going to be outside, and there's going to be a train that pulls up beside of you guys. And we need to plant a charge at the front of this train and destroy it so we can get credit for completing this level. That's going to give you guys the Exodus trophy. But before we do that, we need to work on 2 more trophies. We're going to wrap up the Headhunter trophy, and we're going to work on a trophy called Brakeman for detaching all the train cars, which there's 2 train cars. Notice what I do right here. Triangle. We want to make sure we're killing people still. Working on the Headhunter trophy. Go through the window. The game wants you to go to the right. We're going to go to the left. You do have to crouch here. There's going to be another collectible for you guys. There's also 2 enemies in here which you can kill if you want to using the triangle prompt, or you can shoot them, but I just find that it's really not that necessary. There's the collectible right there, the official letter. That's going to be collectible 11 of 91. And then to the left of this door, all you're going to do is come up here and interact with this. It's going to break off that. Oops. It's going to be scripted here. You're going to go down here and detach this train car. Okay. Again, it's going to be no quick time events there. It's just going to do it automatically. That's going to be number 1. Again, open up this door. And what you want to do at this point, guys, is switch to your Kalash. Hit triangle, switch to your Kalash, and then quick save. Very important that you do that, because when you reload your checkpoint, you will have the Kalash ready to fire. You won't have to switch from the revolver to the Kalash, right? And then kill these 6 enemies in this room. Reload your checkpoint. We're working on the Headhunter trophy right here. Now you can't reload your checkpoint immediately. Wait for the numbers to show up in the bottom right hand side of the screen. That lets you know the game has saved the kills for you. And then reload your checkpoint, kill these enemies again. The reason why you want to use the Kalash over the revolver is because you probably have a lot more ammo for the Kalash than the revolver. But you could use the revolver if you wanted to, or you can melee kill these enemies using triangle. It's going to be quicker using the Kalash though. That's going to take you about 25 minutes or so, maybe 30 minutes to farm these kills. But I highly encourage you guys to get this here, because there are karma points attached to killing certain enemies in the game. I don't want to get too much into that now, but karma does affect your endings, and we have to get multiple endings to get 2 trophies. So the way that I have this guide set up is that we're going to be very specific about who and when we kill enemies in this game, right? We have to be careful about both of those. And so by knocking out this trophy here, you can just wipe away all the stress you're going to have going through the game later on, trying to go, man, I need to get these kills, but I can't kill these enemies because I got to get the endings, so forth and so on, right? It's a lot of stress. If you don't want to farm the Headhunter trophy there, by the way, there's your Brakeman trophy for detaching that second rail car. If you don't want to farm for the Headhunter trophy there, you can get it in your Ranger Hardcore difficulty, because in that difficulty, we're going to be killing everybody for the most part. Not going to be doing much killing in this playthrough after this first episode. We're just going to be knocking enemies out. Again, we got to make sure our karma points are lined up correctly for some endings. Here's another collectible, by the way. This is your last one, the Crumpled note. It's going to be collectible 12 of 91. That's why I highly encourage you guys to finish up the Headhunter trophy there. It will take you like 25-30 minutes, but it's worth it. That way the rest of the guide you can follow just like I'm showing you. All right, this is all scripted. We're just going to come through here, plant the charge. There'll be a cutscene here where you have to jump back to your train. Once that's through, of course, I'm going to be skipping that. You'll just run down here again. This is all scripted, not even a quick time event. You'll pop the charge, blow the train. That'll be it. That'll be enough to get you guys your Exodus trophy for completing the Moscow level. And then we're going to wrap up this episode with a diary and postcard summary. I want to show you guys everything that we've collected. Again, you should have 12 total collectibles, 12 of 91, 10 diaries and 2 postcards. You can just hit your options button right now on your controller and you'll be able to see exactly what you have. Again, if you've missed anything, you can always quit to the main menu once we get into chapter 2 and then reload this entire chapter and find the one that you're missing, okay? But you should have 10 diary entries and 2 postcards. I thank you guys so much for watching this first episode. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the series. Thanks to all the people who are supporting me on Patreon. I cannot thank you guys enough. You are keeping this channel alive. Thank you so much. If you guys do want to support me over on Patreon, it's just $1 or more per month. It really helps me keep this channel active. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Be good.